Okay. I woke up, logged on Indeed to a farming manager job somewhere in Europe. When I got there, there was this guy named Tom who claimed to be my assistant. I don't really know who he is, but he basically said it's not really a manager. Like you kind of own this farm now. You have a budget of about 500,000. So go ahead and plot out where the farm's gonna go. You control all the roads. And I'm like, man, I just started. I don't really have a lot of experience, but I know a little bit about what vegetables and fruits you can grow. So I'm trying to think what would be the best thing to start out with. It's the gooseberries. You know what I mean? If you're not hip to the gooseberries, go ahead and try a gooseberry. We gotta hire workers, so I'm gonna build like a hotel type thing where they can all lay at. And I'm building myself. I'm creating sparks with my own two hands to get this up. You know what I mean? They're not gonna be there for long. It's very seasonal. You know what I mean? We don't need them year round. You can't grow stuff year round unless you got like a greenhouse or something like that. Which I'll talk about that later. You know what I mean? Google is a great resource because I've been able to get my farming knowledge from nothing to something as I got this farming job. So I decided to do another plot of land. I like the gooseberries, but what if we did coffee? So then I could be basically the biggest coffee supplier in Europe. But that's going to take a lot. You know what I mean? So I had to build another storage facility because, we're growing now. We're going to have a lot of different things that need to be stored. And I was thinking as well, we probably need a more permanent residence. You know what I mean? Like we have the seasonal people, but we probably need employees that are full time. You know what I mean? People that, don't come and go. So, they need a house, to live at or to, I don't know, file taxes on the computer. I don't really know. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna give them their room, plot out some more land, and I'm gonna hire my first worker, Zachary Owen. And Zachary said, we should probably go ahead and do some greenhouses. If I'm gonna work here 24/7, it's Europe, so the weather is not always amazing here. So you need to have a controlled environment to be able to grow things year round. Once all my seasonal workers started, I was feeling good. I was feeling really good. So, I'm gonna continue, to grow my empire, and continue to grow things, like some guavas, and I'm gonna put a chicken coop out there. I mean, what farm doesn't have a chicken coop? You know what I mean? So, same goes. You need someone to work the chicken coop probably year round, and I'm noticing, the more people I'm interviewing, they got little skills that you can use to your advantage. So I'm gonna use the person that's pretty good with the livestock. You know what I mean? Somebody who knows what they're doing. I'm gonna buy him a couple chickens and I'm gonna say, hey, that's your responsibility. You know what I mean? When that truck pulls up with those chickens, you are in charge of their whole life. From hen, from chick to hen. That is now your responsibility. So, I went over to Zachary. I'm like, hey man, we're doing pretty good. Actually, do you mind if I call you Zach? I'm not feeling Zachary. If you're gonna be under me, you gotta take nicknames. Zach said, we probably need a barn to store food and stuff. If we're gonna have livestock animals around, and we was like, yeah, I mean that makes sense. Let's go ahead and get some cows as well, because I was thinking with cows. Wait, what are they spraying? Are those the suits for the chemical? See, okay, I don't know the whole farming cycle. Okay, all I know is put the cows in the barn back there. What? The truck duplicate? Put the cows back there so they can make some manure for fertilizer that we can use all across the farm. I mean, it's going to be a ton of manure. So put the manure with the coffee, with the guava, with the gooseberries, we'll be good. And I sold my first batch of gooseberries. And, this is when I thought the future was bright for this farm. But I'm still broke. I started at about 500,000. I'm down to 200,000. I'm losing 11,000. I don't know if that's daily, monthly. I just know I'm losing money. But with that, I felt like a bigger farm is needed. Let's just build up just a giant farm for tobacco. I mean, coffee, smoking, that's two of the biggest habits out there. You know what I mean? We're going to need both. So, once I started selling a little bit more, I'm getting contracts with all these, warehouses and department stores that are doing who knows what with this stuff, but they need a good farm to get it out there. And finally, I've turned a profit. Maybe I shouldn't scroll on Indeed late at night. Two.